Have you ever replayed a single conversation in your head for days while everyone else seemed to forget it 5 minutes later? Or felt a tiny change in someone's voice and instantly knew something was wrong? If that sounds familiar, there's a chance you don't just experience life, you absorb it. And that can feel like both a gift and a curse. Because while some people move through life like they're skimming the surface of a lake, you feel like you're swimming at the bottom, where everything is heavier, quieter, and somehow more intense. A song doesn't just sound good, it hits you. A movie doesn't just entertain you, it stays with you. A kind word can make your entire week. A careless one can ruin your entire day. And here's the strange part. Most people don't understand it. They tell you you're too sensitive, too emotional, too dramatic. But psychology suggests something very different. People who feel everything deeply aren't weak. In many cases, their brains are simply processing more information than other people realize. Think about it. Imagine walking into a room. Most people notice the obvious things: the furniture, the temperature, the conversation. But some people notice something else: the tension between two friends, the disappointment hidden behind a smile, the exhaustion in someone's eyes. It's like their emotional radar is always switched on. And that radar never really takes a day off. That's why deeply feeling people often become exhausted in situations that seem completely normal to everyone else. A crowded party, a family argument, a stressful workplace. To others, it's just another day. To them, it's an emotional traffic jam. Their minds are processing dozens of invisible signals at once. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Many deeply feeling people spend years thinking something is wrong with them, not because they're broken, because they're different. As children, they often hear things like, "Stop overthinking. You're taking it too personally. It's not a big deal." But what if it actually is a big deal to their nervous system? What if they're not exaggerating? What if they're simply experiencing the world with the emotional volume turned higher than average? Now, before you start thinking this sounds amazing, there's another side to the story. Feeling deeply means joy feels bigger, but pain does too. A rejection that others shrug off can feel like a punch to the chest. A betrayal can echo for years. An embarrassing moment can replay in the mind like a movie nobody asked to watch, at 3 in the morning for the 100th time. You know the one. The moment you said something awkward 6 years ago. Your brain keeps it in a special museum for reasons nobody understands. But here's something people rarely talk about. Deep feelers aren't just emotional. They're often incredibly observant. Because when you're paying attention to feelings, you're also paying attention to details. You notice patterns, contradictions, changes in behavior, the things people say, and the things they carefully avoid saying. This is why many deeply feeling people have a strange experience. They can understand other people extremely well, yet somehow feel misunderstood themselves. It's like being fluent in a language nobody speaks back to you. And that loneliness can become heavy. Because the deeper your emotional world becomes, the harder it can be to explain it. How do you explain why a certain memory still affects you? Why a certain place makes you emotional? Why a random song suddenly changes your mood? Most people just nod politely, but they don't really get it. And eventually, many deep feelers start hiding parts of themselves. They become careful, reserved, selective. Not because they don't want connection, because they want real connection. Surface-level conversations often leave them feeling emptier than being alone. They don't necessarily want more people. They want more depth. And that's a huge difference. Here's something fascinating. Research in psychology has found that some individuals are naturally more sensitive to emotional and environmental stimuli. In simple terms, their brains respond more strongly to both positive and negative experiences, which means something beautiful can affect them more deeply. But something painful can affect them more deeply too. It's a package deal. You don't get one without the other. It's like having a high-performance sports car. You can go farther and faster emotionally, but every bump in the road feels stronger too. Now here's the trap many deeply feeling people fall into. They start treating their sensitivity like an enemy. They try to shut it down, ignore it, hide it, pretend they don't care, pretend nothing hurts, pretend everything is fine. But have you ever noticed how exhausting pretending can be? Because no matter how much you push feelings away, they usually find another door. Sometimes as stress, sometimes as anxiety, sometimes as emotional numbness. The very thing you're trying not to feel starts controlling you from the shadows. And that's where everything begins to change. Not when you stop feeling deeply, but when you stop fighting it. Because the goal was never to become less sensitive. The goal is to become stronger than the fear of your own emotions. There's a huge difference. Deep feeling isn't weakness. Weakness is being controlled by feelings. Strength is understanding them, listening to them, learning from them, without letting them drive the entire car. And the people who master this often become extraordinary. They become the friends who truly listen, the artists who create unforgettable work, the leaders who understand people, the partners who love with their whole heart, the individuals who bring warmth into rooms without even realizing it. Not because they feel less, because they've learned how to carry what they feel. And maybe that's the real secret. The world often tells deeply feeling people to become harder, but maybe their job isn't to become harder. Maybe it's to become wiser with their softness, to stop seeing sensitivity as a flaw that needs fixing and start seeing it as a responsibility that needs understanding. Because the truth is, the people who feel everything deeply often spend years wishing they could be more like everyone else, while the people around them secretly wish they could feel life the way they do. So if you've ever felt too sensitive, too emotional, too affected by things nobody else seems to notice, maybe you're not experiencing life incorrectly. Maybe you're experiencing more of it. And one day, you'll realize something powerful. The thing that made you feel different wasn't the burden you thought it was. It was the reason you could see beauty where others saw ordinary moments. The reason you could understand pain others couldn't explain. The reason you could connect with people on a level that many never reach. Because feeling everything deeply isn't about carrying more weight. It's about having a heart awake enough to notice what most people sleep through.